is Mariah Varela, and for my Great Films project, I chose the film Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. I chose this film because when I first saw it, I fell in love with it. The overall storyline of the film is so heartwarming and really connects to the families that was affected by 9/11. Well, by the end of this presentation, I hope you want to go find this movie and just watch it if you haven't done already. It's great. What we have here is the main character of the film, Thomas Horn, who played Oscar Schell in the film, who had a father that worked on the 105th floor of the World Trade Center in New York City. Him and his father had special connections that brought them together. Was these reconnaissance expeditions where they would go around New York City looking for something from every decade. I think this is really sweet how they do this together. Oscar Schell's father was his best friend. No one could replace him. One day, everything changed. Oscar had lost his best friend that day to a horrible attack on the Twin Towers in New York City, where his father happened to be. This part was probably the saddest of them all. He no longer had his father anymore and couldn't deal with the heartbreak he was going through on the worst day. Thomas Schell was loved by many people, especially by his wife. Words cannot explain their love for each other, and since he had died from the attack, they did not find a body, so they buried an empty box. Oscar had questioned why would they have a funeral to bury an empty box. He thought it was ridiculous. It's been a year since the worst day, and Oscar decided to go in his father's closet. He had found an envelope with the word black on it. He was determined to find what lock fits that key. So it was just him against New York City. He was scared, frightened, and alone. But he kept looking. He had looked up everyone that has the last name Black and went to their house and had tried to find what that key fits. He would also connect to everyone he meets. After they talked for a while, he would ask them for a picture of them. Pictures of a couple people that he met during his travels and finding what the key fits. There were some that would pray over him, wishing him the best. There were some that wished he had the same dream. There are some crazy families out there. Some that didn't care what Oscar wanted. And some that were overwhelming. After he would take the pictures, he posted it in his notebook that he had in his room. Sooner or later, his mother had figured out what he was up to and started to follow him to see where he was at and where he was going. She met all the families that he met and talked to just to make sure that her son was okay. About a week in his travels, he met the renter that lived with his grandma. The renter did not speak, so he would use his words. He also had a secret that he was Oscar's grandfather, Thomas Horn's father. Oscar instantly connected to the renter because he would act just like his father, Thomas Schell. Even though Oscar did not find what he was looking for in finding what the key fits, he found something way better. He found courage, bravery, and faith in himself. One of the things I wanted to talk about was Miss Henson. I love how they designed this film and really brought it to life. The clothing, The acting, the art, the design, everything in this film is spot on. In this picture, one of the things I love the most is how they designed the whole scene to be busy, just like New York. New York is a busy city, and Oscar was all by himself, alone, traveling by himself, talking to people. He had to grow up to be independent, all by himself. In this picture, I really love how the scenery is where how it's just him in New York City. No one else, just him in New York City. One of the major items in this film is keys. And in this scene is probably the best scene in this film, is where Oscar decides he wants to give up. But the renter did not let him. All those keys could have fit any box, and he only had one key he had to look for, and he just wanted to give up, and the renter did not let him. And I love how they really portray that meaning of how there's so many out there that it only takes one, and I just love it. I also love the scenery that they portray in this film, how Oscar had to travel around New York City in different places, different areas, different types of living, different cultures, different people, all types of people, funny, crazy, loud, angry, mad, sad, and these two pictures really portray that meaning in the film. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was acting. Acting. In this film, one of the main characters is Thomas Horn, who played Oscar Schell in this film. He was funny, quirky, and very intelligent. He had brains like a hawk. He was right on in everything. He is amazing for being only a young boy. Here we have some of the minor characters. First, we have Max von Schoen, who played the renter, Oscar's grandpa. Next, we have Tom Hanks, who played Thomas Schell, the father of Oscar Schell. Then we have Sandra Bullock, who played Oscar's mother. All of them had a really big connection to Oscar Schell. One of the major characters was Oscar Schell. I wanted to talk about him a little bit, how he had his different ways of acting, and he was funny and quirky and just plain out weird. He's very smart, and that's, I think, what everyone likes about this movie, is that Oscar Schell was such a great actor. I also wanted to show you how these actors really connected to the audience in their emotion. They showed great emotion and made the audience feel what they were feeling. Is don't let anything get in your way of finding your future. Another one of my things is losing someone that can be the hardest thing any human can go through. In this film, Oscar had to live without his father for the rest of his life. And that's just horrible, for being a young boy, losing his father at a young age is just sad. Here we have Stephen Daldry, the director of this film. He was born May 2nd, 1961 in Dorset, England. He married a girl named Lucy Sexton and had a son. He directed The Reader, The Hours, Billy Elliot, and one of the greatest films ever, Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. He is a great director, and he made many films and hopes to make more. I give this film an A+. The overall storyline is great, the acting's great, the scenery is great, and it's just an overall perfect movie.